Now, another thing before we continue with our ChatGPT love is this cartoon. I happened upon the phrase sea lioning over the weekend. I mentioned it on my Mastodon account. And we got a lot of conversation about sea lioning. And I became the sea lion. And all my friends were baiting me to reply as a sea lion. And I did, and I won it all. They could not stump me being a sea lion. I've been online actively, like with blogs, since at least 1994, 95, 96, and I've dealt with sea lions all my life. I didn't know that's what they were called, but that's what they're called. And they got the name sea lion because of this wonderful cartoon that I'm going to share with you right now. A woman and a man riding what appears to be a steam-generated old-fashioned car. And the woman says, I don't mind most marine animals, but sea lions? I could do without sea lions. And the man says, don't say that out loud. The next frame, a sea lion appears behind the couple. Pardon me, I couldn't help but overhear. And the man says to the woman, now you've done it. And the sea lion continues in the next frame. I would like to have a civil conversation about your statement. The sea lion goes on and says, would you mind showing me evidence of any negative thing any sea lion has ever done to you? And the woman's expression is, Tune continues. The woman says, they're now inside eating. The woman says, go away. And the sea lion at the table says, there's no need to raise your voice. I'm right here. I'm just curious if you have any sources to back up your opinion. The next frame, the woman is in bed. The sea lion is next to her. The woman says, you're in my house. And the sea lion says, you made a statement in public for all to hear. Are you unable to defend the statements you make? Or are you simply unwilling to have a reasonable discussion? And the final frame is the man, the woman, the sea lion having breakfast. The man says, told you, dude, sea lions. The sea lion replies, I have been unfailingly polite, and you two have been nothing but rude. The woman says, I'm trying to eat breakfast. And the sea lion says, very well. We shall resume in 1 hour. Now, I got some questions from people who, didn't understand the cartoon. English may not be their first language. And they said, I don't get it. And I said, you've run into people like this. If you've ever run a forum, been on a forum, you make some statement and they say, oh, I'm just asking, where did you get that information? Could you provide me a link? I'm so interested. And I'm like, you don't have to shout at me. I'm just asking you a question. I don't know why you're so upset and being so rude to me. Well, I'm just here trying to learn things. You know, exactly that kind of person. They're sea lions, and now you know. Now we get into some really interesting thoughts about AI, chat, how AI can be very wrong, which I don't mind because I know AI is in its infancy. It has to search for things. It needs information. You don't have to yell at it. If it's wrong or incorrect, you can say that's not the right answer. And sometimes the AI bot will listen to you and sometimes not. But there's no reason to get mean about things because it's like beating up on a child. So here's a conversation I had this morning in anticipation of the next thing we're going to talk about, where I decided to ask my ChatGPT 4 chatbot a question about a Robert Frost poem. And the name of the poem is The Strong Are Saying Nothing. And it's very beautiful. Thank you. So I asked, hey, provide the Robert Frost poem, The Stronger Saying Nothing, and provide analysis of meaning and history the poem addresses. And the bot says there's confusion regarding the title of the poem. There's no poem by Robert Frost entitled The Stronger Saying Nothing. However, one of Robert Frost's more famous poems is The Road Not Taken. If you would like, I could provide analysis of that poem or any other poem by Robert Frost. I don't want to buy Robert Frost. I want that poem. So this is what I did. I wrote an article about this, so I went and I copy and pasted the poem, which is very short, into my reply. I will read it to you now. The soil now gets a rumpling soft and damp, and no regard to the future of any weed. The final flat of the hoe's approval stamp is reserved for the bed of a few selected seed. There is seldom more than a man to a harrowed piece. Men work alone, their lots plowed far apart. One stringing a chain of seed in an open crease, and one still stumbling after a halting cart. To the fresh and black of the squares of early mold, the leafless bloom of a plume is fresh and white, though there's more than a doubt if the weather is not too cold for the bees to come and serve its beauty alight. Wind goes from man to man in wave on wave, but carries no message of what is hoped to be. There may be little or much beyond the grave, but the strong are saying nothing until they see. So that was my reply to the bot, the actual poem. And what did the bot do? Here's the reply. The poem, while not widely recognized as a work of Robert Frost, it reflects the themes of nature, work, and uncertainty that are commonly found in his poetry. The poem describes the process of working the soil, preparing it for planting, and anticipating the growth that will come from the selected seeds. It also touches on the solitary nature of the work and the interplay between human effort and natural elements. Now, that's sort of an interesting response because it didn't know anything about this poem until I gave it the poem. So this is analyzing it within 10 seconds of reading it. Here, ChatGPT 4 Plus says, I will provide my analysis of the poem. In the first stanza, the poet describes the act of tilling the soil, making it soft and damp and ready for planting. The hoe is used to approve and finalize the space for the seeds to grow, disregarding the future of any potential weed. The second stanza paints a picture of men working alone in their fields, each focused on their tasks. One man is carefully planting seeds, while another follows a cart. This stanza highlights the isolation and individuality of the workers, each responsible for their own piece of land. In the third stanza, the poet introduces the image of a leafless plum tree in bloom, which contrasts with the freshly turned soil. The uncertainty of the weather and its potential impact on the pollination process by bees is mentioned, showing the reliance of humans on nature for a successful harvest. Now, that's very interesting analysis in 2 seconds. Continuing. The final stanza speaks of the wind that travels from man to man, carrying no message or information about the future. The poem ends with a mention of the unknown that lies beyond life, and the strong who are not speculating or making assumptions about it. choosing to wait and see what comes. In this poem, Robert Frost captures the balance between human effort and nature's influence in agriculture. The imagery and themes of labor, solitude, and the unpredictable nature of life and death reflect Frost's signature style and his ability to find profound meaning in ordinary experiences. Not a bad analysis, written in 10 seconds after saying no such poem exists. Now, unsatisfied, my next question to my AI bot was, what is the name of the poem you just analyzed? Because in the analysis, it doesn't mention the name because it previously told me there's no such poem under that title, under that name. Well, here's the response. Apologies for not providing the title of the poem earlier. It appears that this poem does not have a widely recognized title. It is not one of Robert Frost's most famous works, and as a result, there may be limited information about its publication history and title. The poem, however, still reflects Frost's thematic concerns and style as described in the analysis. So again, it's being petulant, a petulant child, even though if you ask AI, are you a human being? No. It's not answering my question. So I ask my question again. The name of the Robert Frost poem is The Strong Are Saying Nothing. And then I provide a link to the article that I wrote about this poem. And the AI says, my apologies for the earlier confusion. Hey, you're right, the poem is titled The Strong Are Saying Nothing. After all that, thank you for providing the information. Given that the title is now confirmed, the analysis provided earlier should help you, understand the poem's meaning and the themes it addresses. Who is teaching whom is my question. The AI bot continues. Hey, to recap, The Strong Are Saying Nothing by Robert Frost delves into themes of nature, work, isolation, and uncertainty. The poem illustrates the balance between human effort and nature's influence in agriculture and captures the solitary nature of the work. It ends by touching upon the uncertainty of the future, both in terms of the harvest and life itself, emphasizing the strong who choose not to speculate, but the unknown, and instead wait to see what unfolds. So in the end, it comes around. Now, this is Chat GPT 4. Chat GPT 3.5 Turbo would not have had this conversation with me. It just would have, as they say, played dumb. There's no such poem. I don't know what you're talking about. What is this thing you've posted here? I don't recognize it. But ChatGPT 4 is sort of willing to go along in real time and be collected and have a conversation, which I really appreciate. Now, we're going to go into Discord for this last little bit. So I'm disappearing because I need to fill the screen with this Discord screen. You can hear me, but you can't see me. I'm strong, and I'm saying nothing. So before the show, I went on Discord. And as you can see right here, I used Midjourney, my most favorite AI bot, art bot, and I posted the entire Robert Frost poem into an image prompt. And I've done this many times in the past just to see what I would get. I had not done it with version 5 of Midjourney. I'd done it with version 3 and version 4. Usually I get because it's a lot of text, that's a poem, I usually get an image of, farmland with all kinds of gibberish text posted on it. And today, instead, I got very surprised. Here are some of the images. Now that is beautiful and shocking, and there's no awful image text put over the image. And some of these are sort of old-fashioned, so it kind of knows what year, what time, 1920s, 1930s, when this poem was written. It doesn't know it's a poem. I did not tell it it's a poem. And these are just the rolls and the re-rolls that Midjourney version 5 comes up with for these instances of trying to visualize this poem. And it's men planting seeds. And it's really the most beautiful, glorious thing I've ever seen. It's super terrific, as the kids say. Hard to believe. Look, that looks like an authentic picture from 1930. And it's not. It's all AI. It's all invented. None of these images you're seeing are real. They're all created by an artificial art bot called Midjourney.